Millions of people in this country would do just about anything for a job these days. The unemployment rate is still close to 10%. Nearly 45% of jobless Americans have been out of work for more than 6 months. With so many desperate people out there, there is a booming market for scam artists. Workplace consultant Debra Shigley is here to tell us what to watch out for. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is really kind of the sad reality of people who are really under a lot of pressure being taken advantage of.
Absolutely. People who might not ordinarily fall for scams are now because they're so desperate to find a job.
Yeah. One of the things you say is watch out for companies hyping the same program. What does that mean?
So this is happening on Twitter. Basically, it's a new take on the work from home scam. There are these tweets that say you can make a lot of money working from home, sign up for an instructional CD, but the fine print says you're actually signing up for a monthly service that's going to charge you up to $100 a month if you don't cancel.
Wow.
Exactly. So you want to be aware of anything that says no experience necessary, you don't need to submit a resume. Usually if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
And this is really being spread a lot on Twitter?
Yes, Twitter's the new way for the scam to be propagated.
Okay. Now, one of the other things you say is if it looks fake, it probably is fake. How do we differentiate between what's real and what is fake?
Right, so typically these scammers are coming from outside the U.S. So the emails are going to be riddled with grammatical errors, punctuation errors, spelling mistakes. Oftentimes it might even look fake in terms of the photos and logo might be copied. So you need to do some investigation.
Right.
And one of the things you can do is go online to the betterbusinessbureau.com. It's a great resource to look up whether there are any scams associated with this particular company. You can also go to a site like domaintools.com, which is a way to cross-check the URL. So you would go on, we looked up cbs.com. You can go on and look up how long the site has been registered, who registered it, and what you're looking for is whether there are just a short period of time it's been in existence. Scam sites usually have only been around.
And they come down.
Right, they go up for just a few months. That's what you want to watch out for.
Wow, boy, that really, it sounds really nasty, doesn't it? It's really mean.
It is.
The other thing is there were internet scams in the past that were done by people faking banks. They literally took the graphics right off the internet and put them on. You really need to really pay attention. The other thing that you talk about is this notion that if you end up starting to answer some of these questions online, if they start to ask you about credit checks, that is like the biggest red flag of all.
Yes, and some legitimate companies do run a credit report, but it's much later in the game. It would be usually when a job offer is imminent or is about to be made. But if you go on one of these sites, you apply online, sometimes you'll get an unsolicited email that says, in order to proceed to the next step, you need to go on this specific website and fill out a credit report.
Right.
Big red flag. Most of the time it's a phishing scam. What they're trying to do is get your bank account information, social security number, so that they can basically commit identity theft.
Right. So if online somebody is especially asking for that or your social right off the top, just stop, just click off, erase everything.
Yes. And one thing, though, is a lot of Fortune 500 companies, on their official website, they will actually ask for your social security number to apply online. That's typically okay. There's a lot of security measures in place. But if you're on a sort of one-off job listing sites, maybe like a Craigslist, you want to be much more wary of submitting any of that kind of information.
I am so concerned anytime that you see that on any blank. I really I almost usually call first and just to try to make sure it's legitimate.
And that's,
you put your social in, it's like kiss your life goodbye.
Absolutely.
All right, last but not least, your last red flag: if an employer requires you to wire money or handle suspicious goods. It sounds obvious, but you have to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a new take on the check processing scam. Someone sends you a check. You're supposed to wire money to another entity. Obviously, the check turns out to be fake. The bank account is fake, and you lose the money and could potentially be engaged in criminal activity. But as a general rule of thumb, you also want to watch out for any type of recruiter that's asking you for money up front. What we're seeing now, too, is a lot of federal job scams, in particular because the federal government is hiring. So some of these recruiters say they can offer you special inside access to job listings or special training materials, things like that. And all that information is actually free online on federal job sites. So watch out for anything that calls you to pay money up front. And you need to do your research. Google, LinkedIn, all of these things. Cross-check the email with a friend or family member to see if it's a scam to protect yourself.
Debra Shigley, very good information this morning. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Good job.